Good morning, everyone. Yesterday we have started chapter 1, Computer System Overview. We have discussed different components of computer system here. In brief, let's discuss them in detail. The first component was input unit. What was input unit? Combination of all the input devices all together working as a single unit to perform a single task. Now, it has two important tasks. First of the important one is it accept or read data from the outside world or user when connected to the computer. Fine, this everyone know. Now second important task is it accept the data and convert it into computer understandable form, that is binary or machine code. See, everyone know computer understand only binary language or machine language, that is in the form of 0 and 1. But we people will give instructions in the form of human readable form. Fine, which is not understood by the computer. So that instruction must be converted into machine code so that the computer will understand and process it. So we need to convert the data into machine code. And where that data will be converted? In the input unit. So what is happening in the input unit? The source code, that is the human readable code, is converted to the object code. That means the machine language or the binary code. Fine. So in input unit, two things are happening. It is accepting and reading the data from outside world, and it is converting the source code into object code. Similarly, we have second component, which is output unit. It sends result to the outer world, and also it is used to convert result into human readable form. See, we have see the input devices. They have converted the source code into object code, that is machine code. The computer has processed the instructions in the machine code itself. Now they are returning the result to the user. But we user understand the human readable code, so these machine code should be converted into human readable code so that we will understand the result. So for that, the object code, that means the machine code, is converted into the source code where in the output unit. Now third is the processing unit. The CPU, also known as the processor, that is the processing unit only. Fine, like the processors we are having Intel Core i3, i7 and so on. It is further divided into three components, which are ALU, CU and register. ALU, you all have heard earlier also. It is the arithmetic and logical unit. Obviously, it will perform the arithmetical and logical operations. Arithmetical operations means plus, minus, divide, multiply. These are arithmetic operations. And what are the logical operations? Like true, false, on, off. These are the logical operation where some logic is there. See, every single condition has two output. Either it will be true or it will be false. And these operations are the logical operations. And it gives decision making power to the computer system. Fine. The second is control unit, the CU. It manages the functioning of the overall computer system, or we can say it controls all the components of the computer system, like the input devices, the output devices, and the ALU also. So it is controlling the complete computer system. Third are the registers. Registers are nothing but the fastest memory in the computer. They are actually the temporary memory which is holding the data and instructions for temporary basis, like the instructions which are going on right now or the instructions which are might to processed next. So these instructions are stored in registers, and it is the fastest memory of the computer. Its capacity varies on the design of the processor, like 32-bit processor or 64-bit processor. The capacity varies on the design. Now next is the, see how control unit is working. The main memory, from main memory it is fetching the data, it is going to the processor where it is decoding, converted into machine language, decode the instruction into command, यहाँ पे process होगा, and then it will go to control unit where it will execute the command, and again it store instructions in the memory. Now see, the fourth component is memory unit. Your memory is divided into two parts, primary memory and secondary or auxiliary memory. This secondary memory is called as external memory, or the storage device which you insert to the computer. Fine. The primary memory is the internal memory of the computer or the inbuilt memory of the computer. Fine. Primary memory is further divided into cache and main memory. Main memory is further divided into RAM, ROM. RAM is further divided into static RAM and dynamic RAM, whereas ROM is of four types: PROM, EPROM, EEPROM, and flash EEPROM. This primary memory we will discuss later. First, we are going through secondary memory. Secondary memory basically is of four types: magnetic tapes, magnetic disk, optical disk, and flash memory. Magnetic tapes were used earlier times. You must have seen the audio cassettes or video cassettes which were there in the market earlier. Like this is the magnetic tape. Now magnetic disk, these are hard disk drive and floppy disk drives. Hard disk are still in the market. We still use the hard disk drive, whereas the floppy disk drive were like square shaped disk. This is a floppy disk device. Now they are also not in the market. We don't use them. Third are the optical disc, which consist CDs, DVDs, BRDs, that is Blu-ray disc, and HVDs. CDs having capacity of 700 MB, DVDs 4.7 GB, BRDs Blu-ray disc 25 to 50 GB, and HVDs 3 to 5 TB. Now basically BRDs and HVDs are common in the market, but CDs and DVDs are hardly used. Fine. CDs and DVDs are of multiple times earlier. Like CDs were there, which were kind of wrong, in which you can't modify the data. Once content is there written, you can't rewrite it. Then CDR came in the market. CDR, that means rewritable data. Once you have inserted content in it, you can reinsert the data, or you can modify the data. You can change the data. You can delete the data later. So there were different types of CDs and DVDs. Now we don't use them. The fourth one is the flash memory, which are commonly used nowadays, which are memory card and pen drive. They are the fastest memory and smallest in size. Now we'll discuss about primary memory in detail. Primary memory consists of two main parts. First is the cache and second is the main memory. Cache is the smaller, faster memory which stores copies of data from frequently used main memory location. What actually is cache? It is a faster memory. It is very small in size, but it saves the data of frequently used command. So it reduces the average time to access data from the main memory. See, whenever the data is accessed, it is first sent from memory to the processor. It takes time in sending the data into processor. But if the processor has some memory which can store the frequently used command, we don't have to ask main memory again and again to get the data. Find the processor itself has a cache memory. So that cache memory holds the frequently used command. That's why it is faster, because it is reducing the average time to access the data. It is reducing the average time to access the data from the main memory. That's why it is faster. Now, the second part of primary memory is the main memory. It consists of two parts, RAM and ROM, which you are studying from earlier classes also. RAM is the random access memory and ROM is the read-only memory. RAM is the temporary memory and ROM is permanent memory. Why it is temporary? Because it is volatile in nature. Volatile means it can delete the data as soon as the power is cut off. Whereas ROM is permanent. Why it is permanent? Because it is non-volatile memory. Electricity doesn't affect it. It is permanent. Fine. The RAM are very small in size. You can store data in MBs, whereas ROMs are very huge in size. Like suppose in average computers, laptops now, we have 4 GB of RAM, but the ROM is about 1 TB. RAM is in RAM we can read and write. Both operations we can do. We can read as well as we can write. But here in ROM, as the name itself suggests, read only memory. We can only read the content. We can't modify the content. Fine. If we have to modify, suppose I'm writing in a Word, MS Word. Fine. When I'm writing the content, I'm in the content is saved in the RAM. Fine. When I save the file, it went to the ROM. Now I want to edit the file. I open the file, it again will come to RAM. Fine. So in RAM we can read as well as we can write, but in ROM we can only read the file, we can't modify the file. Now RAM is again further divided into two parts, DRAM, which is called as dynamic RAM, and SRAM, which is also known as static RAM. See, DRAMs are slower than SRAMs. Fine. And DRAMs are actually constructed through tiny capacitor, and SRAMs are constructed through flip-flops. Now what actually are flip-flops? These are the memory segments that store one unit at one time. That means 0 or 1. At one time you can store only one unit. Fine. So they require a recharge. DRAMs require a recharge every few milliseconds to maintain its data. See, every few milliseconds you have, it has to be recharged or refreshed. This memory has to be recharged or refreshed, otherwise it will lose its data. Suppose for a raw example I can say, whenever you are doing something in browser, suppose after a few time any website can say that session timeout, so you have to refresh it again and again. After a particular time it will time out. Similarly it happens with this DRAM also. After a few milliseconds, it has to be recharged again and again, otherwise the data will be lost. Right? See, we are recharging or refreshing the memory again and again. That's why it is slower, because it is consuming time to be refreshed again. But whereas in SRAM, it holds its content as long as the power is available. That's why they are faster than DRAM. Don't have to be refreshed, so they are faster in comparison to DRAM. They are slower, that's why they are inexpensive. The faster the memory, the expensive the memory is. So DRAM, SRAMs are faster than DRAM, that's why they are expensive. This is one drawback of DRAM in comparison to SRAM, but it has some pros also, like it can store many bits per chip, whereas the SRAM can't store many bits per chip. Why? Because they are constructed through flip-flops, and flip-flops are memory where one unit can be stored at one time. Fine. That's why they can't store many bits per chip. Okay. Next is DRAM uses less power. Since they use less power, that's why they generate less heat. Whereas SRAM uses more power and generate more heat. DRAMs are used for main memory like RAM, and SRAMs are used for cache. Now ROM, the next part of primary memory is ROM. ROM is further divided into PROM, EPROM, EEPROM, and flash memory. Flash memory are also known as flash EEPROM. See, PROM are the programmable ROM. That means once programmed, we can't modify or erase the content. Second are the EPROM, where that means erasable programmable ROM, where we can erase the data using UV rays, UV light. Fine, but we have a drawback here. It takes 20 minutes, around 20 minutes to erase the data, and it completely removes all the data. That means it fully erases the memory. Fine. The next came EEPROM, that is electrically erasable programmable ROM. It is similar to EPROM, but the content are erased electrically, and we can erase the selected data, or the selected content can be erased. In case of EPROM, the whole data content was erased at one time, but in EEPROM we can erase selected data. Fourth one is the flash memory, which are nowadays very common. Flash memory consists of, they are very fast, as they use millisecond to delete the complete data. So they are very fast. They are used in mobile phones as well as digital cameras also. They are like flash memories like pen drive, and memory card. These are the flash memories. They are within the computer also. So this is the memory hierarchy. See, the smaller the size of the memory, the higher the speed and the cost per bit. So the fastest memory is the CPU registers. Registers are the fastest. Then cache memory. After that, the primary memory, and then the secondary memory which we use. That's it for today. Thank you.